Hello. On a previous video, a subscriber asked about changing out individual cells in a battery pack. So, Geeky Vet, I'm going to try to answer that question. This is my sister's battery pack, the one that I changed. So, let's get this last screw out. See if we can take this thing apart again. There's the last one. Take the cover off, remove the guts. Now, as you can see here, there's different cells making up this battery pack. If you need to remove an individual cell, first thing you want to do, of course, is take your multimeter. And as we covered last time, these should be approximately 3.6 to maybe 4.2 volts. Set your meter accordingly. I'm setting mine on 20 because it doesn't have a 5 volt reference. Then peel back the covers, find out which is positive, which is negative. Put your leads on there, check that out. That's 3.7. Continue until you find the one or ones that are bad. Now, one question that he had was, how do you know what type of battery that it is? This is pretty much the same thing. It at least looks like it. Usually there will be some writing on these. Very hard to see. But you can go by some others that are much easier to see. This one is an 18650, which is a type of battery. And this one is a 2000 milliamp hour rechargeable lithium. So what you're wanting to do is make sure that you have at least as many milliamp as what you're taking out. But you wouldn't want to super overpower it. Say like this one here that I bought, 9,900 milliamp. This is a whole lot more powerful than this one. But what you really don't want to do is go the opposite direction. So if you've got a bunch of these little 2000 milliamp hour batteries, you would not want to put in some little bitty ones. So you certainly wouldn't want to get, like, say, some 650 or 1250 milliamp hour, something like that. Your battery pack wouldn't be as good. Always remember, the pack itself is only as good as the weakest cell. So don't go trying to put a 1.5 volt in here, because first off, most 1.5 volts are non-rechargeable, and secondly, they wouldn't carry as many amps. So anyway, what you would need to do after figuring out which one of these is bad, again, pull back your covers, look down inside, and anywhere you see something like this, there's probably going to be a screw or some kind of a catch in there. So what you're wanting to do is look inside. Aha! Right down in here, and I know you probably can't see that very well, but there is a small screw in here, and luckily it's the same size as the one that takes the cover off. Unscrew that. And remove that little screw. Now sometimes these things are kind of stuck up in there, hard to get out, but there you go. Good little tap, comes right out. Once you do that, starting to get a little bit of movement, do that with the others. And don't forget your back as well as your front circuit boards will probably have some little screws holding them in. You'll have to take those apart too. And then once you get to the batteries themselves, and I'm not going to mess with this, too much time and trouble, set that aside. Here are some old NiCads, basically the same kind of setup. You have this little bit of metal strip welded to the battery to hold the batteries together and make connection, negative, positive, so on and so forth. To take it apart, all you really need is some needle nose pliers, side cutters, whatever kind of pliers you want, or just your hands. Bring that around. Pull it right off. Use your pliers, pull the other side off. Now you have a strip of metal that you can use for help welding in a new battery. And always remember, positive to negative, unless you're wanting to increase amps, not volts. You can always go negative to negative, positive to positive, and that's basically increasing your reserve or your milliamps. Each of these are 2,000, so I would then have approximately 4,000 if both of them are actually capable of carrying the full 2,000 each. So, how do you weld that little strip to one of these? Well, just so happens I have a little battery pack right here. Now, if this is kind of chewed up and rough shaped like this one here is, how do you trim that? Well, you can get yourself some side cutters or some regular old wire tools there with the cutter, or better and simpler, got a decent pair of scissors. Just trim them right up. That's all you need to do. Real simple. Now, to actually weld these in place, all you really need to do is have a cheap little battery like this. Now, I have some old battery connections here, some old wires with the appropriate terminals at each end. Now, the reason I have these clamps on is these wires are going to get hot. So, you definitely want to protect your hands, some good gloves, or something like this to hold things. Position this little wire strip. Put your strip of metal in place. Bring your other one up, and all you're going to basically do is create a dead short to weld this. Doesn't take very long. Just a quick little bit. And there you go. Nice, strong connection. And yes, a simple little battery like this for a ride-on tool will obviously do this. That's all you really need. You don't need a high amperage, deep cycle battery or anything like that. If you're going to do a lot of this, I would strongly recommend that you get something like this so you can actually mount it up here somewhere, run a small little switch here to kick this on, That way you can actually put both of them in place. Make sure that you're in place. Hit the button, release real quick. This is what's actually doing the arcing, nothing on the outside sparking, possibly causing problems. But anyway, now that we have the little tab in place, take the multimeter, set it on the 20 volt, go to this, the new tab I just welded in place, and over here, and I have 12.5 volts on these 3 little batteries. That's all it is, 3 little 2000 milliamp hour 18650 lithium batteries. I can now use this to power any kind of 12 volt light or system that I have, i.e. this nice little light here. Take the positive to this, the negative down here, and we have a nice bright light. And that's just on these simple 3 little lithium batteries that I have soldered or welded together. You can do the same basic thing for your main battery pack. Once you get everything pulled apart, find the bad cells, remove those using your pliers. And if you can't find, or you don't have enough of these little strips left after you remove them, yes, you can buy these at almost any electronics store. Amazon carries them. There's other places carries the same things. They're just little strips of metal. And then, as we can see here, you've got the wires soldered in place. Make sure you keep the same wires in the same locations, unless you're replacing the circuit boards as well. That's a whole different ball of wax I'm not going to get into right here for many reasons, but hopefully this will give you an idea as to how to get in here and replace some of these cells. These cells here, you can buy them almost anywhere. They're readily available. You can buy the real high dollar ones through Amazon. I'm sure they sell them on eBay, lots of other places. But like I said, just simple, good 12 volt battery. Preferably some kind of pointed ends so you can get in there close to weld those in place. Don't hold it for very long because you don't want to burn up the new battery. So if you do get too much voltage shorting across through here and heat this too much, you can run this battery. Matter of fact, you can even cause this thing to explode. So do not hold it for very long. Just a second or two is all you need, and it's welded in place. Hopefully this gives you a little bit more information. Maybe now you can repair your own battery pack. A little DeWalt battery pack, or Black & Decker, or Hyper Tough, whatever. Basically the same thing. You undo your little screws, pull it apart. As long as the circuit board is good, you should be able to take your pliers, pull out the old cells, use your little battery, weld in some new ones. Hopefully your battery pack will be like new. You'll be able to run it for many years and it'll work great. If you want to upgrade it to a higher amperage, that's fine. Just make sure you do all of them. Don't intermix milliamp hour or voltages. Make sure they're all the same. Also make sure that if you're changing out batteries in a pack like this, use the same voltage as the ones you're taking out. If you change the voltage, you're going to have to change the electronics, which means the charger will probably have to be changed as well. So make sure you keep the same thing, and this little tutorial should help you be able to repair these battery packs, the little 20 volt, the 80 volt, the 12 volt, anything like that. So hopefully this helps, and hopefully I've answered all your questions. So if you get any more, leave them in the comments. We'll talk to you next time.